Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Magic with Zuby. My name is Zuby, and if you're brand new to the show is all about a little well-known card game called Magic the Gathering. So on today's show, we're going over all the black cards of Zendikar Rising. Just as before, as we've done with every other episode, this is not intended for you professional players out there, or for the people who really want to win their limited or sealed or anything like that. This is more for us normies, to where we're going to be talking about all the cards, all the black cards in Zendikar Rising, and which ones are cool, which ones could be good for limited or sealed, and which ones may be fun in constructed, mainly commander or maybe historic. So before we get into that, let's just do a little bit of announcements. You can help support the show at patreon.com/magicwithzuby. You can go and check out the show's Discord as well. It is in the show notes now. I should have done that a while ago. And if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on Twitter at magicwithzuby, on Instagram at magic_with_Zuby, and you can email me with any questions you may have at mtgzuby@gmail.com. And we have two quick little ads before we get into all the black Zendikar cards.
Well, hey there, Zoe. Why the long face there, chum?
I just want to order some magic cards, but the shipping was too expensive.
Too expensive? Well, did you know if you go to legitmtg.com, you can order any magic cards, and anything over $2 or more has free shipping?
Wow, free shipping's at legitmtg.com. That's amazing.
You heard that right, Zoe. Free shipping at legitmtg.com with any order over $2 or more. Be sure to visit today and get the best deal on Magic Singles and Magic Sealed product available.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that is how you beat the latest standard meta with Abzan.
Ugh, it feels like there's no magic content out there for someone like me. Someone who doesn't want to be competitive. Someone who is...
Who is... a normie?
Yeah, exactly! A normie!
Well, have I got the show for you, the all-new Magic for Normies show.
Hi, I'm Pixie.
And I'm Zuby.
Together, we host the all-new
Magic for Normies.
It is the Magic the Gathering show for all your normie needs. We don't care what deck got into the top 8 or what deck is winning. We care about having fun playing Magic.
That's right, Pixie. You can watch us on Pixie's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/PixieKittenPlays and catch the VOD on our YouTube channel, Pixie Kitten Plays. If audio is your thing, you can find episodes on the Magic with Zuby RSS feed.
Magic for Normies.
Alright, so we are starting off with our first black card here, Acquisitions Expert. It is 1 and a black, it's a human rogue. When this enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals a number of cards from their hand equal to number of creatures in your party. You choose one of those cards, that player discards that card. So if you know you're gonna hopefully have a full party and all that, this would not be a bad card to play maybe in the mid to late game if you have a lot of creatures out. That way, maybe you just make your opponent discard their whole hand, which would be awesome. And, I mean, besides that, even if you only make them discard one card, hey, discard is a very powerful thing in Limited. It's very, very annoying. Because there's not a whole lot of recursion in Limited most of the time. So, not a bad pick. Maybe early to mid pick if you know you're going in black there. Next up, we've got Agadeem's Awakening, the first black mythic. For X triple black, it's a sorcery. Return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have a different converted mana cost X or less. So, has to be each have a different converted mana cost X or less. Okay, so let's say you pay 3 into it, then you could bring back a creature card that's 3, 2, or 1. It's not too bad. I kind of like that. I mean, I like that way better than the white mythic, because I like graveyard recursion like this. And as usual, you can always use it as a swamp too if you need it. Not a very exciting mythic. Like I said, this mythic, these like mythics here, these double face mythics here so far. I mean, blue has been the best one because of draw cards, obviously, and no maximum hand size. But I gotta say, they're not very exciting, right? They're not like, because mythics have always been splashy and fun. So far, these have been kind of okay, they're good. Yeah, that's about it. They're good. Nothing like, oh my gosh, I have to have this type thing. Next up is Black Bloom Rogue for 2 and a black. It's a human rogue. It's a 2/3 with Menace. Menace is always good in limited. This gets +3/+0 as long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. So if you're doing black-blue, since blue does seem to have quite a bit of mill, and hopefully that's not too hard to get with mill here, so you could have a 5/3 with Menace. That's really powerful. Plus, this can flip around to be a swamp as well, too. Next up, we've got Blood Beckoning. For 1 black, it's a sorcery with a kicker cost of 3, so for 4 mana, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If this spell was kicked, instead, return 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. So the basic kind of recursion that black sees a lot. And, even for 1 mana, if you don't kick it, you can return at least 1 creature card from your graveyard, which is not bad at all. Recursion's always good to have because it's hard to come by. Next up, we've got Blood Price. For 3 and a black, it's a sorcery. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put 2 of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. You lose 2 life. So it's sort of like Sign in Blood, but you get to sort of scry for. I mean, not really scry for, but you get to look at the top 4 cards, put 2 of them in your hand, and you lose 2 life. I mean, that's pretty basic black card draw. This would not even be a bad card to play in EDH. Right now, I know Sign in Blood and Read the Bones are technically better, but, if you want another black cantrip in your EDH deck, here you go. This is not that bad at all, actually. In Limited, this is also a really good card in black as well, too. Losing 2 life is very minimal at best. And unless you're up against, like, a mono-red aggro deck. Yeah, I know. You probably hear the dogs barking in the background, and I apologize. I will do my best to try to get rid of those sounds in the post-editing, and if I don't, I'm very sorry. My neighbors are fucking assholes, and I hate them very much. They leave their dogs out all day, and it sounds like they are abusing them, so I'm sorry. Next up is Blood Chief's Thirst. It's a 1 black sorcery with a kicker cost of 2 and a black. Destroy target creature or planeswalker and converted mana cost 2 or less. If this spell was kicked, instead destroy target creature or planeswalker. So this right here raises questions that, are we going to have a planeswalker coming out very soon in the next few sets that costs 2 or less? Why would they print this card unless we weren't, right? So unless we aren't getting a planeswalker cost 2 or less, then the wording of this kind of makes you go, oh shit. What kind of planeswalker is this going to be? And please let it be a piece of crap. But anyways, so this is some pretty good removal. So for 4 mana, you get to basically destroy target creature or planeswalker, essentially. I don't see many people not paying the kicker cost for this or wanting to pay the kicker cost for this. Yeah, it could be good early on to get rid of a pesky creature that could be bad down the road, right? So, really good removal. This could definitely be a pack one, pick one for sure. Next up is Coveted Prize. For 4 and a black, it's a sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. If you have a full party, you may cast a spell, convert a mana cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. Ooh. So, I mean, it's a tutor effect, right? You get to search your library for any cards you want, but with a little added benefit there. If you happen to have a full party, you may be able to get to cast that creature for free. And if party becomes a thing in EDH, this is going to be like one of the must-have cards in your EDH deck. Because if you have a full party, then it just costs 1 black. And if you have a full party, you get to cast it for free. Win-win there. A really good card, really good. Now, as far as limited goes, it could be not too bad. Because, a tutor effect in limited could be powerful, even if you don't get the free casting cost of it, maybe you want to find your bomb creature, that really coveted removal that you're looking for, right? Could be a good card. This could possibly be a pack one, pick one. Next up is Deadly Alliance. It's a 4 and a black instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. So once again, some premium removal in black as usual. And this could definitely potentially be a pack one, pick one, because it's really good removal. It doesn't discriminate against converted mana costs or color or anything like that. And it just destroys any creature. Or planeswalker as well. Can't forget about those pesky little demons. Next up, we've got Demon's Disciple. 2 and a black, it's a human cleric. It's a 3/1 when this enters the battlefield. Each player sacks a creature or planeswalker. So we got another Plaguecrafter or... oh my gosh, what's the other one? I see the art in my head. It's like a disgusting blob of a creature. I'm forgetting the name of it. But essentially, it's another Plaguecrafter. And same mana cost and everything. I think the toughness is a little bit less because I think Plaguecrafter is a 3/2. This is a 3/1. But anyways, I mean, yeah, it's good. It's even if you end up having to sack the Demon's Disciple for it, you know, hey, you got rid of a pesky creature on your opponent's side. Really good card, early pick. And this will see standard play and EDH play as well. Next up, we've got Draina, the Last Blood Chief. 3 double black. It's a legendary vampire cleric. Flying with a 4/4. When this attacks, defending player chooses a non-legendary creature card in your graveyard. You return that card to the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. The creature is a vampire in addition to its other types. So if you open up in this pack, you pack one, pick one. Hell yes. Just on its own, a 5 mana 4/4 with flying. Awesome. Defending player has to choose a non-legendary creature card in your graveyard. You return that. Oh my god, that is disgusting. So, this as your commander in EDH, I don't like this card at all. Like, it's a really good card, but holy crap. This is going to get disgusting. This will definitely see play in standard and historic as well, too. This is going to get disgusting. That's gross. If you are the defending player and your opponent happens to play a Draina, kill it right away. Please, do us all a favor and kill it right away. Kill it with fire. Burn it with fire, give it some garlic and onion, and put a stake through its heart. But otherwise, it's a really good card. Holy crap, is it good. Next up, we got Draina's Silencer for 5 and a black. It's a vampire rogue. It's a 3/2. When this enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets neg-X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures in your party. So once again, this is what I always like about black. Black has a lot of good creature removal here, and that is always so good and limited here. And this is just going to be another awesome card to add to your party collection in your draft deck. It's not bad at all. 3/2 body for 6, not the greatest, but the possibility of killing another creature when it comes into play makes it worth it. Next up, we've got Dreadworm for 4 and a black. It is a worm horror. It's a 5/4. Has landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, this gains indestructible until end of turn. That's not bad at all. So a 5 mana 5/4 that can possibly get indestructible. It kind of complements your deck there. It could be a good little bomb. Could be your good little secret there if you're going like black-green, right? With some ramp, hopefully some landfall. And it's not a very worthy card to put in your limited deck. Otherwise, I don't see it seeing much play outside of limited. Next up, we've got Expedition Skulker. For 1 and a black, it's a vampire rogue. This has death touch as long as you control another rogue. So a 2/2 for 2 by itself is good. And with it, the possibility of having death touch makes it better. And it's not a bad creature to have. And it's not hard to get another rogue out onto the battlefield. Next up, we've got Feed the Swarm. For 1 and a black, it's a sorcery. Destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's converted mana cost. So this is one of the only black enchantment removals that have been printed, and it's not a bad card. Now, this is going to see a ton of play in sideboards and a ton of play in EDH as well, too. This is going to become an EDH staple for black. And since it's a common, it will not be expensive at all. Maybe the foils will be expensive, but the regular card will not be. And that's good. That's a good thing, because black has been lacking enchantment removal a lot. And I do see myself definitely playing this in a lot of my EDH decks as well. Now, as far as limited goes, the destroy target creature effect is great. Some good removal, with the slight downside of you losing life. Not the greatest thing, but hey, maybe you need to take care of that pesky creature, and it's worth having. It's at least worth picking up one of them. Next up is Ghastly Gloom Hunter. For 1 and a black, it's a zombie bat with kicker 3 and a black. So for 6 mana, has flying lifelink. If this was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. So for 6 mana, you can get a 3/3 with flying lifelink. And, I mean, you know, hey, gaining life's always good in black, especially with a lot of the cards that have you lose your life. So it's not bad. Not a bad little creature for 6 mana. The flying's good too with the evasion. Next up, we've got Goldraz Mucklord, a crocodile. He looks like a badass crocodile, let me tell you. For 2 and a black, it is a 2/3. So 3 mana, 2/3, pretty average. When this dies, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Pretty average card, you know, mid to late pick more than anything. Next up, we've got Hagra Constrictor. For 2 and a black, it's a snake. This enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. Oh, because it's a 0/0. Each creature you control with 1/1 counter on it has menace. Ooh. So I could see this definitely seeing play in EDH. Like any kind of like Golgari counters deck or anything, because menace is such a pain in the ass to deal with. So this is automatically going to have menace on it right away. So a 2/2 with menace for 3, plus the ability of giving your other creatures menace. Ooh, this is going to be an early to mid pick if I know I'm going to hopefully get some counters going. I like that a lot. Holy crap. What more can I say? I really like that. And I can see this seeing play in Commander and Historic, especially Historic there. Next up, we've got Hagra Mauling. For 2 double black, it is an instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast if an opponent controls no basic lands. Ooh. So possibly punishing players that like to play nothing but non-basic lands. I know I have a few decks like that, that may only have 1 to 2 basics. Destroy target creature, so possibly for 3 mana, it's a destroy target creature effect. And now in limited, almost 100% of the time, it's going to cost 4 mana. It's still a good removal spell to have, for sure. I'm not doubting that. Like, yeah, this could be a pack one, pick one for sure. But in limited, don't get it twisted. 100% it's always going to cost 4 mana. Unless your opponent, for whatever, plays nothing but flip cards. I don't even think that's possible. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, 100% it's always going to cost 4 mana. And limited there. Oh, look, and it's my asshole neighbor. I hate him. I mean, I could tell a whole podcast about the asshole neighbors. Anyway, so you can flip it over and turn it into a land if you need it. Next up, we've got Highborn Vampire. It's a 3 and a black vampire warrior. It's a 4/3, so 4/3 for 4. Not bad. And it's a warrior to help fill out your party, and that's about all it does. So, yeah, a mid to late pick. Next up is Inscription of Ruin for 2 and a black, and also has a kicker cost of 2 and double black. So for 7 mana, you can choose all of these modes, or choose any of these modes. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Return target creature card converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Destroy target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less. So I could even see myself picking one this as well. Just for the destroy target creature effect for 3 mana, essentially. And for 7 mana, you know, hey, you get to do all of them, which is not a bad thing as well. So it's not a bad card. I don't see it seeing much play in standard, at least. I mean, unless I'm completely wrong, but it doesn't seem to be that great unless it's limited or possibly even EDH. But even EDH, there's better cards you could cast for 7 mana than this. Next up, we've got Lithiform Blight. For 1 and a black, it's an enchantment aura. You can enchant land with this. When this enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted Land loses all land types and abilities and has, you can tap this to add colorless, and tap this to pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color. So you could effectively affect one of your opponent's lands for this, which wouldn't be bad, making them pay life. But you could also, I could see this also seeing play, like if you need it as well, because, hey, paying the 1 life is not the worst thing, but maybe you need that 3rd color or something, or that 4th color to be able to splash something. But otherwise, it's, at best, it's a 2-mana cantrip that kind of screws up your opponent's lands a little bit. And that's about it. Otherwise, I'd be looking for something else. This would be a late pick more than anything. I'd be looking for stuff that would help me progress further into the match to help me win the game. Next up, we've got Malakir Blood Priest. For 1 and a black, it's a vampire cleric. It's a 2/1 for 2. When this enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life for X's number of creatures in your party. So at worst, they're going to lose 1 life and you gain 1 life. And at best, then they lose 4 life and you gain 4 life. So not a bad card, a 2/1. Like I said, they're pushing these commons more and more. Oh my gosh, the common is just, commons are busted now. A lot of times it feels like. Next up, we've got Malakir Rebirth. For 1 black, it's an instant. Choose target creature, you lose 2 life. Until end of turn, that creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So it could be a cool little combat trick if it has an ETB effect and it's about to die or something. Boom, you cast this and then it comes back. And if it happens to be completely useless, hey, you can flip it and turn it into a land. Not bad, not bad. Next up, we've got Marauding Blight Priest. For 2 and a black, it's a vampire cleric. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Ooh. So you pair this up with Veto, and I know Veto does more damage, but hey, even a common card. Heck, I could even see this seen playing EDH decks like the Aristocrats type EDH decks. Even in Limited, it's not a bad card because, hey, there's ways to gain life, and just pecking them down 1 life at a time is very useful. A 3/2 for 3 is not a bad creature as well either. I'd rather it be a 2/3, but 3/2, I'll take it. More of a mid to late pick, more than anything. Alright, next up, we've got Minecarver. For 1 black, it's an artifact equipment. When this enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +1/+0. It gets +3/+1 instead, as long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, and the equip cost is 2 and a black. So, if you're trying to go the mill strategy, great card to have. Otherwise, it's decent. It's decent. More of a mid to late pick, more than anything. Next up is Mind Drain. It is 2 and a black sorcery. Target opponent discards 2 cards, mills a card, and loses 1 life. You gain 1 life. Wow. That is really good. Instead of just like the normal Mind Rot where target opponent just discards 2 cards. Do I not keep saying commons are getting busted here? Target opponent discards 2 cards. Awesome, great. Always good to have in Limited. Then mills a card and loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. That is really good. Not as good as removal or anything like that, don't get me wrong. But still, definitely a worthy card to play in Limited. More mid to late pick more than anything. Hell, I may early pick that. If I know I'm going to try to do mill, blue, black, and all that, I'm getting plenty of those cards. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to play some sealed on this. Next up, we've got Nighthawk Scavenger. For 1 double black. It's a vampire rogue. It's a 1+ star /3. And a little bit of math there. Excuse me. Flying Death Touch lifelink. Nighthawk Scavenger's power is equal to 1 plus a number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. So, cards in graveyards have only the characteristics of their front face. So, it's pretty much vampire Tarmogoyf. So, what they mean by card types is they mean counting the card types like creature, instant, sorcery, planeswalker, artifact, land, etc., etc. And so It's very similar to Tarmogoyf, but it only affects your opponent's graveyards, though. I'd probably still pack one, pick one this because, eventually your opponent's gonna have stuff in their graveyard. And even at a 1/3, a Flying Death Touch Lifelink is nothing to scoff at either, because it could be a very valuable blocker, could be a good, attacker for gaining life back. And it's a lot of things you could do. I would definitely pack one, pick one this. And I'm sure it's going to see play in standard at some, like, standard or historic. EDH, on the other hand, I could see it like in a vampire deck. I don't see why not. Especially in EDH, you got 3 other opponents, and especially if one of them is playing like a graveyard shenanigans. Boom, there you go. Next up, we've got Namana Skitter Sneak. 3 and a black, it's a human rogue. As long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, this gets +1/+0 and has Menace. So if you're on that mill plan, this becomes a 4/4 with Menace. Heck yes. I definitely would be picking that if I know I'm going into mill. Next up is Namana Sky Dancer. For 2 and a black, it's a human rogue, flash flying. When this enters the battlefield, target opponent mills 2 cards. 2/1. Oh my gosh. I'm definitely going mill when I'm playing limited here. Oh man. This is awesome. Next up, we've got Null Priest of Oblivion. For 1 and a black, it's a vampire cleric with a kicker cost of 3 and a black. So for 6 mana, you can play it, kick it all together. It's a 2/1 with Menace and Lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oof. Oof. So for 6 mana, I would not even mind paying the whole 6 mana for that. Getting to return any target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield? Yeah. Oh, man. So Reanimator decks that I see in Historic, I could definitely see people playing that in the Reanimator decks in Historic. Even in EDH, pack one, pick one for sure. That's just so good. So good. I know a 2/1 Menace Lifelink is not the greatest body and all that stuff, but man, such a good card. Oblivion's Hunger. For 1 and a black, it's an instant. Target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Draw a card if that creature has a +1/+1 counter on it. So you get to basically save a creature, and if it has a 1/1 counter on it, you get to draw a card. Always good combat trick, more of a mid to late pick more than anything, but it's always handy to have in case your opponent has a kill spell or they block it and you don't want that creature to die, right? Boom, now it can't die. Next up, we've got Palaka Predation. 2 and a black, sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a card from it. We convert a mana cost 3 or greater. That player discards that card. It's always good to know what your opponent's playing, and in limited, you have a good chance of making them discard a card. So it's not bad. And the benefit of it is if you don't ever need it, then boom, it becomes a land if you need the land. So not a bad card. Mid to late pick, I think. Next up, we've got Scion of the Swarm. Ooh, I like that. Instead of Scion of the Storm, Scion of the Swarm. 3 double black vampire cleric. It's a flying 3/3. So 5 mana flying 3/3. Okay, cool. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on this. Ooh, even better. I like it. I like it a lot. And it's a vampire cleric. Helps you fill out your party. Boom, there you go. There you go. Early to mid pick. Even if you never gain any life, it's a 3/3 flying. And flying is always great evasion and limited there. Next up, we've got Scourge of the Skyclaves. For 1 and a black, it's a demon creature. Its power and toughness are star. Has kicker costs of 4 and a black. When you cast this spell, if it was kicked, each player loses half their life rounded up. Scourge of the Skyclaves' power and toughness are each equal to 20 minus the highest life total among players. Oh my gosh. So, okay. This is going to be a really stupid EDH card because for 5, 6, 7... So for 7 mana, each player is going to lose half their life. Oh, it's each player. Oh, it's not each opponent. Oh, that's even going to count yourself. Ooh, could be possible drawback, but if you got a way you can try to win, or it could be one of those super grindy EDH games that doesn't seem to be going anywhere, and just like, oh, boom. Yeah, now everyone loses half their life. Thank you. Come again. So in limited, though, 7 mana, you're going to make your opponent also lose half their life. Oh, man. Ooh, 20 minus the highest life total among players. Well, among players. So it could even be yourself. So let's say both players just have 10. So this is a 10-10. Oof. Oof. And then watch, your opponent just kills the creature. And, God. I like this card. Ooh, I like this card. Oh, I like it, but I don't like it because you know it's going to see so much stupid EDH play that people are just going to want to do. Yeah, pack one, pick one. I mean, yeah, why not? I would. I'd almost try to wait until, you know, maybe both of us have a little bit less life because I wouldn't want to kick it exactly. But, you know, hey, could be fun. Could be fun. Oh, man. All right. Wow. That is crazy. That's crazy. That's like that one card. Oh, what is it? It replaced the Grixis Delver decks in Modern. Grixis Shadow. I forget the name of the card. Does something similar to it. I mean, not as good as the Shadow creature, but oof. Oof, I like that. Oh my gosh, would this see play in like those Shadow Modern decks too? Maybe? Maybe. It's really expensive though. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right. Moving on. Next up is Shadow Stinger. See, this is what I'm talking about with a splashy mythic, right? That's splashy. That's fun. That's like, oh man, really gets you thinking of the craziness that you could possibly do with that card. That is a fun mythic. Doesn't feel too powerful because it could easily get killed, but it's fun as well too. Like the Timmy in me just screams like, oh my gosh, I want to play that card. I want to play it. Next up is Shadow Stinger. For 2 and a black, it's a vampire rogue. It's a 1/4, so 1/4 for 3. Not the greatest. Tap another untapped rogue you control. Shadow Stinger gains Death Touch until end of turn. When this deals combat damage to a player, that player mills 3 cards. Okay, so mill plan in effect. So yeah, I would take this mill card if I know I'm going mill. Or maybe to help out my party if I want to make this a good blocker and kill something with it, right? Next up is Shadow's Verdict. For 3 double black sorcery. Exile all creatures and planeswalkers with converted mana cost 3 or less from the battlefield. And all creature and planeswalker cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from all graveyards. Whoa. Okay. So, not exactly the black board wipe we need. It definitely stops some graveyard creatures, like stops Luris and all that in standard or historic, and Cat Oven combo stuff. But oh man, even in frickin' what do you call it, EDH, like this could stop a lot of Aristocrat decks too. Especially with all the pesky creatures they keep getting back in their graveyards. I like this. Now, as far as limited goes, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, would I want to pack one, pick one this? It's very... God, I would have to... You'd have to see if there's anything better in the pack. Otherwise, yeah, I might if there's nothing better. Like, I'd probably look for a creature first. This one... maybe I would pack one, pick one this. Yeah, maybe I would. Yeah, I think so. Maybe. I don't know. That's a tough decision there. I think I would pack one, pick one that card. I think so. I really like the art on it. The art's kind of creepy looking. Giant skeleton demon monster. It's kind of creepy when you look at it. Alright, next up we've got Skyclave Shade. For 1 and a black. It is a shade creature with kicker cost of 2 and a black. It can't block. It's a 3/1. If it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2/1/1 counters on it. So it can become a 5/3. So a 5/3 for 5. Okay. Has landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, if this was in your graveyard and it's your turn, you may cast it from your graveyard this turn. Hey, that's not bad either. So a recurring creature that keeps coming back. I'd pack one, pick one. This, heck yeah. Even if I was more on the aggro plan and I just didn't pay the kicker cost for it. I mean, the 3/1, that's pretty dang good. I mean, we see that all the time in white, right? The 2 mana 3/1s. But I really like the effect of you're going to be playing land. So, oh, look, it died. I'm just going to bring it back. And I'm going to bring it back. I like it. Next up, we got Skyclave Shadowcat for 3 and a black. It's a cat horror. It's a 3/3. You can pay 1 and a black and sack another creature, put a 1/1 counter on this. Or, whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it dies, draw a card. It's not bad. If you're going counter theme in Limited, this is a great card to have to your collection. Otherwise, it's a 4 mana 3/3 that allows you to sack a creature and pump this up. Maybe you want to sack a creature. Like maybe you get Skyclave Shade and then Skyclave Shadowcat. Okay, Skyclave Shade and Shadowcat go and fight. Oh no, this got blocked, but this got blocked too, but I can kill the thing that it blocked or whatever. And oh, I'm just going to sack it. Boom, pump it up. Boom. Stuff like that. Boom. Just boom. And that's sort of like the sounds I make in my mind when I'm playing. So it's not a bad card. Not a bad card. Next up is Soul Shatter. For 2 and a black, it's an instant. Each opponent sacks a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. I love the art on this card. It is wonderful art. You did a really good job, Wiley Beckert. Wiley or Willie Beckert. Oh, it looks like more like a Wiley, I think, maybe. So, I mean, another kind of removal spell. So each opponent... So this will also be useful in EDH as well, too. I mean, board wipes would be better, obviously. Something like that. But hey, maybe there's that really pesky Eldrazi you want to get rid of. And boom, they just have to sack it now. And it's an instant. That's really good. Really good. It could be a pack one, pick one. Next up is Subtle Strike. 1 and a black. Have we seen that? Is this a reprint or no? It's an instant for 2 mana. Choose one or both. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, or put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Not a bad little combat trick either. Could definitely be some decent removal for those like 3/1 creatures or 2/1 creatures, or to pump up your creature as well too. All right, getting on to Taborax, Hope's Demise. For 2 and a black, it's a demon cleric 2/2 with flying. This has lifelink as long as it has 5 or more 1/1 counters on it. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Taborax. If that creature was a cleric, you may draw a card. If you do, you lose 1 life. So, and wow, this could be really good in Aristocrats here. Just with all the sack effects that happen in like Orzhov or Mono Black Aristocrats. And if that happened to be a cleric, you get to draw a card. Wasn't there someone saying online something about like Shadowborn Apostles or something? Because aren't those clerics? And you just keep sacking those and you just draw a bunch of cards. If you do, you lose 1 life. Well, I mean, it's not too bad because, especially in EDH, you're going to have a lot of life anyway. So, but as far as limited goes, I mean, I would pack one, pick one this because it's just a flying 2/2. And you're going to have creatures that die, right? And you get to pump this up as well, too. It's a really good creature, I would say. Next up is Thwart the Grave. For 4 double black, it's a sorcery. So for 6 mana, the spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party, so it could potentially cast only 2 black mana. Return target creature card and up to 1 target cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you get to return 2 target creature cards potentially from your graveyard to the battlefield. Not a bad recursion card for sure. Definitely would be an early to mid pick for me if I know I'm going like full party. Even if I'm not going full party, I mean, you're going to have something from that party, right? It's inevitable. Like majority of the people are. So it's not a bad card. Next up is Vanquish the Weak. For 2 and a black, it's an instant. Destroy target creature with power 3 or less. This almost could have looked like a Fatal Push card. Looking at the art with it. They're falling down from a floating island thing. They could have been pushed off. So destroy target creature with power 3 or less, not a bad removal. Early to mid pick, for sure. And our last, but certainly not least, black card for Zendikar Rising is Zoff Consumption. For 4 double black, it is a sorcery. Each opponent loses 4 life, and you gain 4 life. And you can flip it to make it a land if you need it. So, overall, not the best or not the worst card. 6 mana, that is pretty costly. I'd rather have a creature card at that, but maybe if you think you're going to be mana screwed or whatever, and you need the land, take it. Otherwise, look for something else. That's not the greatest. You know, it's good. It's good, the effect, but it's just the mana cost is pretty prohibitive. Alright, so there you have it. Those are all the black cards for Zendikar Rising. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And next on, we are getting right on to the red cards of Zendikar Rising. Hope you all enjoyed the episode, and thank you all for listening and watching out there, and have a great day.